So, the other day, I was playing Smite, and one of my friends came along, and he was telling me that his nephew was just starting to get into Smite. And as you guys can imagine, my initial thoughts were along the lines of, oh wow, this is great, another friend of a friend to play Smite with. Anyways, so my friend invites him to the party, or Discord call, whatever, doesn't matter, not important, and we start loading up some arena and joust queues because that's literally all he can play, being the level 2 gamer that he is. He's picking out the free-to-play gods and the weekly rotation, which I almost forgot was a thing, because he hasn't forked over $20 to high-res yet for the god pass. And why would he? He's brand new to the game and deciding whether or not he likes it enough to stick with it. We played several rounds and he's pretty good at picking up new games, with the assist of auto buy and auto level turn on, of course, but I still saw him getting frustrated constantly with all the new gods and abilities being thrown at him. And this got me thinking of just how hard it is to get into Smite these days as a new player. I mean, when I started back in Season 2, when it first came to Xbox, the beta first arrived, I had no idea what I was truly getting myself into. The game was drastically different back then, and things were way more simple. To put things into perspective, at that time, there were only 61 gods in the game, compared to the 128 standing in the lineup today. Not to mention there was way less items to buy in the store, and that one of those items were always taken up by boots just to get around the map. Listen guys, I'm not here to rant or reminisce about the good old days because as you can imagine, I'd be here for a very long time. But rather, I'm here to give as many helpful tips as I can for those players who are brand new to Smite and looking to make sense of this great game. Hi guys, my name is Explosion789, and this is the top 5 tips and tricks for new players just getting into Smite. With Smite being one of the earliest adopters on record of being cross-platform, tons and tons of players are going to have different inputs when playing the game. And I want you to all know that whether you're on controller, keyboard and mouse, or even the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, you'll be able to enjoy the game and play it at a competitive level. But before you get there, you're going to need to know what works best for you and what feels right. Let's start with controller, guys. Now, Smite gives you 7 different layout options for you to pick and choose from. There's Challenger, Lefty, Legacy, Savage, Savage Plus, Gladiator, and Berserk. All of these options can be found by going into the settings, pulling up the controls tab, and cycling between layouts with arrow keys. Smite sets you up with Challenger by default as it's arguably the most simple of the bunch, but I highly encourage you all to try out the rest. And who knows, your favorite control scheme could be different than what you're used to. Next up is the X and Y sensitivities. These determine how quickly you look to the left and right, and up and down. Again, Smite starts you off with a rather low sensitivity so you guys can get accustomed to hitting your abilities easier, but as you grow and get better, you progress, I highly recommend playing with increased sensitivity. A higher sensitivity allows you to dodge attacks or juke easier, flick your abilities, and overall react much quicker to those with a lower sensitivity. Think like a Medusa ult. Finally, in Smite, there are 3 different types of casting options: normal cast, quick cast, and instant cast. These determine how quickly you can fire off and aim your abilities. Normal cast is set up for you by default. When selecting an ability, you will see a hologram projection showcasing where the ability will land, as well as its respective ranges and hitboxes. By tapping the button again, you'll fire the ability as shown before. Quick casting is a little different, but largely similar to this. When using quick cast, you'll still get the hologram projection as long as you hold down the button. However, upon releasing it, your ability will immediately fire, rather than having to fully press the button again. Finally, for instant cast, as soon as you press the button, your ability will fire exactly how and where you aimed it. Please note that there will be no hologram at all this type of casting, so it's recommended that you have a full understanding of what your abilities do and look like before using this type of casting. The benefits of quick casting and instant casting are that you can get your abilities off much faster than with normal casting. Again, as you grow, I'd highly recommend trying out these options as they'll greatly improve your gameplay. One final thing I'll share with you guys is that whilst in-game, you can hit Start on your controller and pull up the Abilities tab. There you can change your individual abilities to fire on whichever type of casting that you prefer. So, for example, maybe you're playing a Newbies and want his wrap to be instantaneous, but still want to use the quick casting on the rest of his abilities to better aim them, because you're more new. You can do this by going to the Abilities tab and swapping out his wrap for instant cast. Now let's talk about keyboard and mouse. You guys are the mother of all gamers, right? The truest of the true and the bluest of the blue. Smite starts you off with a very specific key bindings that help to make it easy to learn your abilities and fire them off with precision. However, if you feel it is easier to reach a certain button over another, you can always go to the settings, pull up the key bindings tab at the very end, and swap any button for any input of your choosing. Now, similar to the controller, you can also change the sensitivity of your mouse. This way you can increase the rate at which you look in the game. Again, generally, the higher the sensitivity, the better off you will be. But it is important to remember, guys, that you must have total control over your aiming and not go overboard with your sensitivity. It's okay if you're a little janky at first while you up your sensitivity until you're fully used to it, but don't go crazy, and if you feel uncomfortable, just switch it back. Finally, the Nintendo Switch. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I have never played Smite on the Switch, never had the chance to, but I'm pretty sure that you change your control schemes and even sensitivity in the settings tab in-game on there. And listen, to all my Switch players out there, and for those that are watching this video, just know you guys are truly doing God's work. Keep it up. As stated before, Smite now has 128 gods to choose from, and I can only imagine how overwhelmingly daunting this must feel to a new player. Who do I pick? Who do I choose? What the hell is going on right now? Listen, I feel you guys, I really do. Stay with me here. Now, rather than feeling overwhelmed, let's try and look at this from a positive light. With that many options in the game, there's bound to be one god that totally suits your playstyle. And it can be very exciting to learn a new god and to have it click with you just like that. Trust me, it's a great feeling, guys. My advice here, while it's great to try as many new gods as you can, once you find yourself landing on one that you like, stick with it, okay? Read their abilities and make sure you fully understand their kit before heading off into battle. Don't have the god pass? No problem. If you guys head into the practice tab and select jungle practice, Hi-Rez lets you try out any god with any skin in the game to get a feel for them. Practice or to simply dick around and have fun by yourself or with friends. I highly recommend picking a god that's simple in essence, yet rewarding at the same time once you master them. I'm gonna give you guys 2 recommendations right here, right now for every class in the game. Let's start with mages. Kukulkan and Ra, hunters, Medusa and Neith, assassins, Bastet and Ravana are great choices, warriors, Guan Yu and Shock are amazing, and finally, guardians, Kumbhakarna and Geb. Now listen, all of these gods are great for beginners just starting out and give you a great sense for what each class has to offer. They're also just a ton of fun in general when played well. Learning Smite from scratch can be a lot. It's even more so when trying to go the path alone. Okay, I've been playing Smite for 9 years now, and I can honestly say I owe the game for introducing me to some of my greatest online friends ever, let alone just friends. Life is simply better with friends, as we all know, and gaming on Smite is no exception. By having friends, you'll enjoy your time on the game much more and develop a stronger sense of teamship, which is truly what the game is all about. Being a part of something greater, being a part of a team, okay? You may be asking yourself, how does one go about making friends to play with on Smite? You know, and I'm very glad that you asked this because there are quite a few ways, actually. And I'm gonna start with some simple ones that are surefire ways for you to make some friends. Let's look at the post-game lobby. You know, you can chat with everyone that partook in the game that you just played, both on the friendly and opposing teams. And a great way to initiate an invitation is to compliment whomever you felt did well or showed exemplary sportsmanship during the match. Don't be afraid to add them in-game, yep, that's right, in-game, and invite them to your party, and then, bam, you're on your way. Xbox clubs and other third-party looking for group platforms such as Discord are great for hopping into teams that are looking for one or more player. If you have a good time, you can add them and have many more good times. Simple as, right? Also, note, Smite's official server on Discord is great for LFG posts. You can post exactly the type of player or the team that you're looking for or looking to join, and people will join right up, or you can jump right in. And finally, guys, this may come obvious, but I'm assuming that all of you are watching more than likely already have a friend or many that would totally be down to try out Smite with you. You just gotta sell the game, guys. You gotta sell to them and convince them that it's worth a shot. And we can all agree that it's worth a shot if you've looked up this video or watched this far into the video, right? I know what you're thinking, but I love Assault. Listen, try to keep in mind that this is for players who are truly just starting out in Smite. Game modes like Assault and Conquest are far too complex for people just learning their first gods. Think about it. High-res literally won't allow you to queue either of them up until you're level 15. And honestly, there's good reason for that. In these game modes, you'll have specific responsibilities stacked with everything else you're trying to process. This is not a good recipe for success. But Explosion! I like Assault because it forces me to play new gods and step outside of my comfort zone. Well, that's true, player. I didn't ask 887. You know what else Assault does? There's only one lane. It's a hectic 5v5 all the time. You can't back or replenish your health and mana in the fountain. The entire assassin class is borderline useless. You have to build irregularly because of lack of sustain. The only way you get stronger is by killing yourself. And of course, matchmaking is going to favor one team's composition over the other 9 times out of 10, leading to a loss. So you see, Assault isn't so great of a game mode, and most certainly isn't good for new players just starting out. I may be a little biased, but get real, guys. As for Conquest, there's simply too much going on too fast. Each and every player has specific responsibilities which, if aren't followed at every turn, will lead to snowballing and an overall tragic experience. Arena and Joust are great game modes to start out with. Arena is a chill place where you can test abilities and build against players of your skill level. When you die, you almost respawn instantly, just like Call of Duty. You aren't punished severely like you would be in those other game modes. Additionally, your gold spooling is 11 gold a second, which helps you get a strong very quickly and leads to some exciting team fights. Joust, on the other hand, teaches the very basics of team play. You'll learn how to properly formulate team compositions and work together to take objectives. As you progress, you can try new tactics and find what works for you or what doesn't, what you excel at, as well as what your team's weaknesses are. I strongly recommend listening to this advice, my friends. You'll thank me later. And please don't fret. You'll be in those more complex modes in no time when you're ready. If y'all are anything like me, still to this day, the thing I hate most in Smite is dying. I'd rather almost do anything than die. But yet death is a huge part of the game. Don't be afraid to make mistakes as you continue on this learning journey. Smite's complicated, and so much so that even I'm learning things, for Christ's sake, and I've been playing for 9 years. But if you ask me, that's why we keep coming back. No other game has withstood the test of time for me, except for maybe Destiny, but even that chapter is coming to a close, it seems. Anyways, don't get discouraged, guys. If you don't catch on immediately, it's fine. It's totally worth it if you keep playing and finally master whatever hurdle is blocking your way. Keep that chin up and doing you. And always remember, you rock. Yes, awesome, woohoo. Cringe. I know it's been a longer video, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in and deciding to spend your day with me. I've searched and searched for good beginners tutorials, but alas, there aren't any made, at least in the last 3 years or so, and if no one will make them, then I must be the one to do it. They gotta be made, people gotta know. We'll see how this video does, but if you guys are interested in more, please let me know down in the comments below. I read them all and have plenty more tips for those newbies, and if the video does well, I will continue, and this will be a series. If you liked this video, please give it a like or a dislike if you didn't. This is and has always been been Explosion789, and I'll see you all on the battleground.